you basically keep your eyes on Kailing, and you can maintain a pretty safe posture. So Dewish team, for me, keep Gory down, win big in the mid lane, and try to snowball it there.
We're saying good things about Dewish team here. The comp looks solid. Really interested to see how this one gets played out, because the Dewish team sitting now at the bottom is really rough to watch. They're aligned with Sem9, and you know, it was against Impunity where we saw the failing start. At the start of the split, Clement, you and I cast that. The first J team, which could be excusable to take this loss, but Meta Falcon team come through. Beyond Gaming, it doesn't feel like there was a lot of direction either. This needs to change, and maybe this is the draft to do so as the underdogs go up against the MSI representatives. PSG sitting 3-1 themselves, complete opposite end of the standings right now. Tied third with CDBC flying Oyster. And all I can say is this, I'm curious to see these lanes play out, Clement, because if they go even, if they go in a very fair state, then let the poke begin at Dewish team, sending it down the range.
Taking a look at the summoners here, we do have Xiaotu with a very aggressive setup. This is something I like when you go up against Corki. I was about to say Gory, but of course he's playing Corki. You have the Ignite, you know, he's not going for the spell book. This is full on try to kill your lane type of a setup. And that goes into the sort of overall strategy I said for setup for Dewish team is you just want to roam your pieces into mid lane. You have tons of skirmishing power. You do have a mid game spike with the Triforce or the Mana Mure later on. So I do like the setup here. The biggest problem we have to look towards is Dewish team have to avoid some sort of a catastrophic early game. This has been their biggest weakness. They are, on average, down 5,000 gold at 15 minutes. The lowest in the league, far worse than Sem9. So if they can avoid early game mishaps, then they have a chance.
Well, they're going to start an early game mishap with a numbers disadvantage, but Xiaotu coming in might change it. They're just trying to get the steal, but Bury's got it. Not going to get level 2 for now as a small Raptors contested, but if he does, it could go horrible. But for Dewish team, they've forced them out. Kaiwing and Unified, knowing that Aphelios isn't a champ, are going to win this, Clement, and that might start the jungling that gives Dewish team a lead.
And this is what Dewish team has tried to do in their previous games over and over again. We've talked about this. Bang2 and Enhao cannot lane to save their lives. Their laning phase is straight up probably the worst in the PCS. So what they're trying to do is to hard force vertical maps. They want to have the jungler on the bottom side and always create a 3v2 there. So the enemy duo lane is not able to go aggressive. They just have to assume that the jungler is there. So I actually think this is a really smart move from Dewish team. And to be honest, PSG are one of the few teams that actually get caught out here. You know, this is, I don't think it's a secret that Dewish team have been doing this every single time, but you know, with the champions that they have selected, it's actually very difficult for them to respond.
Well, level 2 hit by Unified here as we're speaking about that bottom lane jungler, but WSL pops his head in, Unified hits 2 and backs all the way away. Notice while Bury, though, Clement is making a response, so we've got to talk a little bit about what PSG could achieve with Bury being topside and taking away WSL's camp in a response move.
Yeah, I don't think Kunai can be dove easily at this point. Okay. Shanat Vana does have that extra resistances, and she's also a great ghost here for the team fight, so it's going to be very difficult for them to achieve that. I think they could put her very far behind in terms of CS, but you know, she's kind of here to sacrifice while Dewish team are just going to hard focus on the bot lane, make sure that pressure is always there, and just take away. You know, if you let Hanabi get big, he hasn't really had a super strong carry performance just yet. But if you can take away Gory and Unified at the same time, that's 64% of PSG's damage.
That's right, it's a big point, is they're actually going to try and dive this one, but it's because Xiaotu's moved down as well, waiting for the Trouble Bubble to come through. The Paddle Star is a double, but still not enough significant damage here. He's committed down while Gory got to stay in the wave, and you can see that the pressure on the bottom side continues to be on, Clement. And I want to interject quickly before we start talking about that play, because it's Dragons that give 5 armor and MR over to Lacunai, where he might be losing out on the top side, but he's not really. He's getting bonus stats with WSL continuing down here.
Yeah, exactly. And Yeah, I believe the stats are doubled when you go into Dragon form, so she gets a lot of resistances from that one, and that's why I like the idea, the concept here of just going for this composition. And ooh, he's able to sidestep.
Well, Hanabi's just walked into the brush for this. Level 5 is the only thing he's hit as Ghost was burned. Lacunai forcing out Hanabi quite a bit. I mean, that's even from bad to worse in the top lane matchup. Dewish team, a great early game so far.
Yeah, they are losing in the solo lane CS, but like we said, you know, he can definitely make it up once he gets those Drakes. CSing a little bit hard earlier on. You definitely need a couple more levels into that Flame Breath to make the CSing go smoothly for the Shyvana. But honestly, she's just here to push out the wave here and you know, just kind of keep this one even. So once again, you see WSL heading straight for the bot lane. The game plan is crystal clear right here. And I think, you know, once Ezreal does hit his much cheaper item breakpoints, then you could start to see the convergence into mid lane.
Well, I can already see the Shatu's doing well enough here by himself, but more importantly, the WSL brought a bit of attention down to the bottom side Drake, but didn't do anything with it. He's falling behind in CS, which is worth noting considering that Bury is still just farming away. And now that Kaiwing started to move earlier than expected, it looks like PSG want a response play.
Yeah, there is, of course, no Herald right now, so it's definitely a little bit difficult to predict.
Oh, no.
And WSL could just be walking in.
Yep, spotted out, knocked up. Here we go. Audacious Charge ignites down. The knock-up coming through as Bury matches the flash. First blood to the jungler we said was a little bit quiet, but makes the play alongside Kaiwing.
Oh, that just has to hurt here. And now had the right idea. It was moving alongside WSL, but you know, WSL does end up face checking in the end. He drops the ward, but still isn't able to catch Kaiwing as he comes right out of the bush at the exact same moment. So I feel like there was 1 or 2 frames where they just didn't see the Rakan there, and it ends up costing WSL his life.
And what does that mean now, Clement? Because there's a 20 CS lead in the jungle. WSL spent so much time waiting around in brushes and not being able to take too many more camps. The Dragon's still there, and we're getting close towards Herald. So while for Dewish team, we applauded their early game plan, the biggest problem now is the lane difference, including jungle, is starting to rack up.
Yeah, and if you look at the bot lane, Unified has been able to CS incredibly well despite 2 ganks into his quadrant, and WSL just showing up constantly. So we're going to take a look at the gold leads right here. It's Unified, you know, he's not even behind at this point, and then you have the jungle, top lane, the support who are massively ahead.
Yep.
So I think what you're going to see is Dewish team are going to find it hard to put all of their poking pieces in the same place now, because the roaming members from PSG have decided advantage.
Well, it's rough to see, especially with that dragon still sitting up. We've got a Herald coming up too, Clement. So I guess I should be asking you a little bit about that, because right now PSG having control on the top side, with Lacunai not being able to do too much in the lane. Even mid, you know, is frozen itself, and Gory's got a good reset timer here. Bury's heading straight up towards a Herald, but you can see that Kaiwing is going to be making the roam as well. PSG are first to this play.
So, if I'm Dewish team, my objective here is just to not lose top tower. If I don't lose the top lane tower, I'm actually perfectly happy to trade gold onto Bang2 and Enhao compared to the Herald that PSG will get. If I get to my item spikes a little bit faster, and you know, this is something that Ezreal is known for, is his 2-item spike is incredibly powerful compared to the more standard crit builds, then I'm actually pretty happy. I buy myself the window. The only thing I need to pay attention to is to not lose towers. If I lose towers, that means the map has to be switched around. You know, you might see Unified and Kaiwing show up in mid lane, and they would have the wave clear and the engage potential to make poking a lot harder. So that's the only thing I want to prevent, but I'm pretty happy at trading away the Herald for gold.
Okay, well now it's not even going to be looked at. It's just Dragon here. Dragon and Herald, Clement, you still for the same sentiment for double objective if it gets taken down?
For double objective, I would say a little bit tougher to swallow.
Which is fair, right? Like, the Dragon is something with WSL bringing the vertical jungling felt pretty easy to take away and set those bonus stats up for Lacunai. but as the invade continues through, WSL now spotted on the bottom side of the map. Bury has a natural path to top side, Clement. That CS is still large. It's almost 30 between junglers, plus the kill there for Bury. Yeah, you can sense my concern, right? You can sense why I'm kind of worried about how this mid-game looks with the progression that we're already seeing from Dewish team. And of course, you've got to be skeptical when this team has started 0-4 and has kind of lacked a lot of its direction outside of these games.
Well, the early games have just been so incredibly rough, the laning phases especially. We just haven't seen a strong lane that Dewish team can play through. However, they might be able to catch a 3v2 if Kaiwing goes for this one. Let's see if Bang2 can give us a good Oscar-worthy performance.
Oh yeah, got to play it up though, because Enhao doesn't have the level 6 yet, so that's one ulti not available. Kaiwing backs off once again. Unified clears out the wave and does the same, but Kaiwing walking into a trouble bubble here. The range from Xiaotu should be enough as Jump does an electrocute ignite over the wall. He's dead. Xiaotu coming up huge here against the world's worthy support.
Nobody expects the random Everfrost right there. Just the extra tick of damage he needed, and this is a Zoe setup where I think it fits the game plan for Dewish team so well. You want to get Zoe big. You want to have her crush the Corki lane, so go for the max damage setup, and it was just so smart with the Everfrost to know that they could execute that. Just props on Xiaotu for making it work.
Why did Gory had package? Now, Herald was taken 20 seconds ago. However, with the play on bot side, Clement, I've been molding about packages over on the other broadcast for about a week now. Icon played, I think, one of the worst Corki games we've ever seen. That package is not a good start.
Last time.
I did. I'm still thinking about it. It's been 2 weeks now.
That's incredible.
It's so hard to get over. It's honestly one of the worst, again, Corki games I've ever seen. Package timings now have become increasingly harder, right? Like 6 minute now the window, not 5. So at 10 minutes when you finally get it, you have to choose, okay, is it this dragon? Is it this herald? Because you're not going to be able to rinse and repeat for the next one.
Yeah, so what you're saying basically is that, the next one, you're not going to see it from Gory, and it's probably going to come online for the third Drake fight, which I think for PSG is sort of fine. Like, I don't think for PSG, because they've been playing so slow, that they will feel pressured to fight up against this comp. The most important thing for PSG is to just wait for it. That's right. That's all they need. Prevent, as long as Zoe and Ezreal are not in the same lane, like, Dewish team are not going to deal meaningful damage.
Okay. So, the mid-game then. Let's come back and talk about PSG have to just clear waves, continue like this. For Dewish team, what do you want to see progress? Because it's the second dragon coming up. It is, Gory having free time within the lane. They do have a lot of map control right now. And I still just want to ask you about, some of these triggers that enable them to be looking towards the objectives and looking towards this mid-game that you did highlight despite them being down in gold.
Yeah, so I think with the first mythic item pickups here, we are going to see them try and hard force some kills. You do have the Everfrost being picked up by Xiaotu, which is not the standard item choice here coming in for most Zoes. You typically do see the Ludens as the go-to answer, especially for more burst damage. So that, I think, is probably the Xiaotu's path of getting even more kills and getting that skirmish potential. Ezreal plus the Braum, the concussive strikes can be proc at such a long distance that you can find those picks out of the blue. But in the meantime, we do have to note that Gory got such a good trade on Xiaotu, basically forced the tower right away. So they're not going to have that platform to necessarily poke in the mid lane, and I feel like they have to do it in one of these Drakes. These Drakes are going to be huge for Dewish team. It gives them extra stats into the top lane, and also they have vision control on the bot side. Sure. So I feel like this is the play that they're going to go for.
Let's hope. 10 seconds, because as WSL comes out on the map, might not have his first item, but I am glad, despite concerns, you raise the mythics coming through from Xiaotu. From Bang2 having the Essence Reaper as well, a bit more access to damage, but I am concerned because Hanabi has the Trinity Force already. He's a top laner without TP, but maybe doesn't need it as the Dragon spawns and PSG have a 3v3 setup with Xiaotu looming in the back.
And we see Aphelios isn't joining just yet, so Dewish
Yep.
is going to start this one first. The most important thing here is for Xiaotu. I think Bury is actually a super easy target to take down.
One go for the contest, and Smite comes early, but it doesn't matter. Finally, stats go to Lacune, and the second Dragon of the game goes to Dewish team. They've opened up mid a little bit for it, though, Clement. Gory, as he continues to push out, Xiaotu has to take the long way around. And at the cost of the Dragon, let's really hope it's worth it here for Dewish team, who finally feel like they've gotten some kind of start objective this game.
Yeah, they don't have to play into a Drake stack coming in from PSG anymore.
Yeah.
And this is quite nice. You know, honestly, Unified has been roaming across the map, but Bang2 is the one picking up some gold. Of course, the tower plates are no longer here, but if you can take down this first brick gold, that's a long way towards, you know, Bang2 getting into that second, the Muramana's power spike, which is very strong for Ezreal here.
You know, first brick for Dewish team would be great. PSG already picked it up before, but at least gold equalizes a little bit with an extra 300 on his... No, but I know you're surprised because we didn't expect mid to go down that early. We didn't expect PSG to have such an easy laning phase here. Gory is ahead in CS. And we saw that Xiaotu made that early level 4 roam down to the bottom side, Clement. I feel like that one simple play has given Gory a bit of an edge, and that extra time in lane costs this Zoe, despite getting the pick-off kill on the return and being such a nice play. It just does feel like one little mistake has caused Xiaotu to be a little bit more behind than you'd expect in this lane.
For sure, and of course, you know, Bury definitely helped out. Great timing with the Herald right after that trade. So, I feel like, you know, this is kind of what we were looking to examine when we came into this game. Two-item Ezreal, what does the map look like right now? And unfortunately, they are way too far behind in terms of towers right here. I think 2 towers down just means that I guess you have a lot of room to kind of back up. If you're not stuck underneath your towers, it makes it much harder for the full composition to actually execute. Because, you know, you're in open terrain, you're in the middle of the map, there's all that room to just walk around these skill shots. So for Dewish team, I feel like the game plan does change a little bit. I feel like it means that instead of the poke, they need to get some sort of a catch first. They need to leave their lanes, pick someone out, and then force the rest of PSG to sit underneath tower and take the punishment.
But even harder when you don't have control of vision in the upside river as Herald's being done. Gory with a package at his hands. He clears out the wave and doesn't manage to drop it now. The stun comes through. Heal as well. That package might be another useless one here, Clement, as Bury finally gets the Herald. Gory is out of there, and Dewish team enabling a siege of the mid lane turret, but they still haven't broken it down. They want this, as you're talking about, in reverse. They just need a bit of space themselves.
And this is super critical here. If they can land some critical skill shots, get the HP low.
Oh, like that. Unified is blown up. Finally, we get to see the poke come through. And Lacuni's Dragon Breath helped out as Tywin with the quickness in the backline. Meters too far. As the ult comes through from Bury, that's an exit from WSL. A lot of explosions finally to be seen here from Dewish team.
That's what we wanted to see. And to be honest, I felt like PSG walked themselves into that one. The Herald positioning wasn't all that important this late into the game. You know, there's no tower plates anywhere to be taken. And they left themselves in a position where Dewish team are able to push the wave into their tower, and let's just watch that one-shot combo. That was beautiful to see. You get the ultimate coming down, Zoe full combo, and I don't even think Shyvana needed to do anything. You know, the Flame Breath was even after the fact, but they had enough damage to finish up the play anyway.
Just for added effect, right? Xiaotu has been, I think, the best performing member in this game, so on the Zoe, real bit of a masterclass coming through, 2-0-1. And, okay, well, it wasn't really a team fight, but let's be real. There was a lot of burst damage to come through, and Dewish team clawed back some much-needed gold. Clement, the mid lane turret didn't go down, but, hey, at the very least, resources going to this Zoe, and that means we're getting to those item points you talked about, which is a great sign of relief for Dewish team now that they're getting over the hump of this early game.
Yeah, and they've proven their damage numbers. They can kill Unified out of the blue just with 2 people. Bang2 and Xiaotu on 2-item spikes is going to look incredibly spicy. It does look like Xiao2 is not going to have the time to get that Horizon focus. But he got the kills without, so you can still see this coming in. And once again, you can see Xin Zhao. It's actually very hard for him to frontline.
That Dragon's sent, though. That's an angle here with the Iceborne picked up. PSG need to pick one themselves or die trying, as the Kune now has to get out. Dewish team don't fully commit as trouble will come through. The poke still trying to land and into the mid lane turret, pulling PSG to one form of an engage as the Kune is getting 1v1 by Hanabi, but still pulling them across the map. The poke continues to land, and Dewish team just hoping theirs does too, is shout to every single time. That's one you want to see, but Berry finds an angle himself. The Dragon's charm is flying through, but Xiao2's now down. The highest damage source has hit the dirt as Unified's ulti misses, but Bang 2 still launching out the Mystic shots. That just there is a way that Dewish team lose the Dragon.
That was such a weird sequence to watch because Dewish team had the range, they had the drop on PSG, but then they just kind of fumbled the walking around the enemy team part. You saw Lacuna get chunked to half without doing anything. Like, he just ran it on Navi repeatedly. And then on the other side, WSL ran into Bury on the tower. There was no reason for Viego to go into melee range and get 2 auto attacks on that one. So, I honestly felt like Dewish team could have had such a stronger showing in that team fight. It was their power spikes. It's very close to their power, 2-item power spikes. But unfortunately, PSG just, I have to say, that was about as pure as the outplay as you could possibly have gotten.
Yep. Slick, smooth, and now 4K gold lead. Clement, I don't know what more to say. Dragon is becoming a condition. We talked a lot about the mid-game at Dewish team. I don't know if you want to elaborate on what late game looks like. Like, poke will always be relevant, but how hard do opportunities get from here on?
I have to say late game, now, sure, Dewish team might have 2-item poke, but Corky's got 3-item poke. And
yeah,
those two things are not on the same level. I feel like late game it gets significantly harder once Graviton starts landing, and you know, Unified actually has a very long range on that ability. He has the Gale Force to go forward, and he can just Moonlight Vigil or Graviton auto attack and then stun someone. Like, Xiao2 actually doesn't have a recourse to that. Like, if he's caught, he's just dead. So
true.
I feel like it's going to be much harder for Dewish team. And if they want to successfully execute this, they have to be able to ward out both sides of the river as they're sieging, and they also have to chunk out Unified first.
So maybe one of those picks you talked about, right? In transition, catching PSG as they move towards a response. I feel like as Dewish team, we said a lot of their early game was like, okay, now that they're behind, they have to find a pick. Now that they have to, you know, set up for this Dragon, maybe a pick. Never came through. Although attempts were made at, you know, sieging through mid and setting that up. Feels kind of sad to see such a fun draft, Clement, but only a very couple, 2 moments, realistically, where it's come alive.
For sure, but I will add that the thing about Pocops is they do have a lot of leeway. They always have a tremendous amount of comeback potential, because if you just land a shot in the dark, and you one-shot a backline, and that's your ticket back into the game. So
yeah.
I always feel like teams that like to sort of test their luck love to play these type of compositions. You know, if Xiao2 just gets something, then we could see it swing back. And for PSG, I do want to mention something. PSG do not have a real tank here. Yeah. A lot of the times you're going to have, if you look at this Gnar, it's basically a double offensive item Gnar. So very easy to just tag someone out and kill them out of the blue. I don't think this is going to be a game where PSG is going to be willing to start objectives before dealing significant damage. I think for PSG, they are much better off actually just trying to start a full-on fight before getting poked down.
Because look at all the significant engage. You're questioning it in draft, but even though it's timed engage, for a team like PSG, where I feel like they are coordinated as a 5-man unit, we've got Hanabi, we've got Bury, Gory's packages, Clement, Kaiwing on the supplementary engage too. There are a lot of ways for them to start the fight, and for Dewish team who have shown they're kind of struggling to put all the pieces together, it seems like the opportunity will be there for sure, as even their vision getting struck out makes it harder for Dewish team to interact with some of these movements to the side without getting some of that follow-up engage is a big surprise for PSG.
For sure. I think, oh, I'm taking a lot of damage right there.
It's a great start. Xiao2 is someone I think we've been talking about all game long. This Zoe, when she died in the last play, didn't look good as he flashes forward. Ignite goes down, True Shot Barrage. Here we go, Laguna though, being blocked by Bury. Once again, this jungler stepping in front of his AD carry as Gory can't do too much either. And just, we're talking Jewish team into a wall. They still have a bit of fire in them.
Not a good look for Unified right there. Just takes everything. Xiao2 able to get the damage with the AoE on the Paddle Star, and he actually found 2 of those to take Unified completely out of the fight. In the meantime, though, we do see quite a clever move by Hanabi. He saw the timers, knows that there is no Drake available just yet, and decides to go straight up push a tower. So, you know, it was really well played by Dewish team, but unfortunately the timers don't line up for them to get any objectives. They are going to find some vision.
They are, but I'm more concerned about Gory's package. Dewish team have to walk into that third dragon. They're pinging towards Baron, but as PSG spot that out over the last ward, they're starting to walk back towards mid. Dewish team are being slide on it, and Dragon's still not looked at. We're just dancing around, Clement. No objective even looked at anymore.
Yeah, Kaiwin's going in here, but he's going to miss the majority of Dewish team. Dewish team very cleverly setting up a bait here, but no damage being taken. So I think the dance that you're going to see is PSG are going to try for full-on engage, while on the other side, Dewish team are going to let PSG go to these objectives. They're going to try and catch them out while they're transitioning out of these positions. You can see Bury's HP right now. It's so hard to play against Poke if you're Xin Zhao. You don't have any real ways of blocking without just popping your ult.
That's right, and then it's gone, and then you have to wait another minute or so. So you're right. So it's so touchy. As Gory trying to walk forward, but the poke so much more significant. Xiao2 with his trouble bubbles, with his paddle start, massive. But yeah, Hanabi without a Mega Gnar though, so you feel okay here as Jewish team for now as Bang 2 is frontlining with confidence. But Hanabi walking up to the vision here, Jewish team towards Baron, but the health bar's way too low, and turret won't go down. The Dragon was the official trade, and PSG still, despite it being a bit more edgy, Clement, are still trading up.
Yeah, I feel like PSG did a very good job of splitting their members. 2 members keeping the rest of Jewish team away, fronting them, and then the rest of the 3 picking up the Drake at the same time. That's exactly the way you want to play it. You don't want to put all of your members into the Drake pit and just making it like shooting fish in a barrel for Jewish team. So they did a good job at keeping the distance. But we are still seeing, I feel like Jewish team this is the closest game that we've seen from them so far. Yeah. All of their power picks are here. The strategy is very, very clear. Oh, PSG have been taking so much damage.
They have it. Xiao2 and Bang 2, who I've just noticed with the ulti with the Qs. They are landing, and more it seems like Dewish team are finding their opportunity. However, PSG still standing and in front of their inner turret. I'm now worried about Hanabi, who's hitting an outskirt of Vision. Clement, you said they needed Vision on the side here, as Hanabi rolls on in and is getting close to Mega Gnar. Dewish team still not backing up, but Hanabi's like, okay, I'll take a second turn as Dragon sends there. Unified with Gale Force out, the poke doesn't connect. The Gale Force was actually genius from Unified, as the Q&A gets the Ghost underway as well. Hanabi about to go to Mega Gnar, and Dewish team are lucky they got out with their lives. PSG still just rattling their defense a bit.
Yeah, just so much damage done to the front line there. Unfortunately, no hard crowd control able to connect onto Unify. He even holds onto his cleanse in the meantime, and I love what Hanabi has been doing. He's just been such a nuisance. He's making sure the waves are shoved up. He's threatening from the sides here, and this is a pretty awkward spot because Dewish team, they have the poke, but they don't really have the wave clear to quickly transition without taking a lot of damage right here. So PSG, I feel like they're just baiting this one out because, you know, they honestly still have the combat stats to turn this around, and we have to once again mention the Gravitum there is there for Unified, so he can actually just flash engage if he wants to.
And I mean, they're so aware that Xiao2 on the wing here. Like, he's been targeted by Bury, and The knockup coming through with the present guard. Golden will buy him time, but now Gory's in position. Everfrost won't save him. Hanabi with only a one-man ulti, but the nuisance continues here as the poke down with the Moonlight Vigil. And Dewish team have been lulled in, Clement. I think PSG are playing with their food at this point.
Such a smart move, and I've got to say, I warned Dewish team about this. I know they can't hear me, but the biggest thing is grab them. If you use grab them, Zoe can only come back to the position she started out with the portal jump. So everyone just flies right in. Murray sees a split happening. He goes on to Zoe, picks her up, and now it's Lacune's shot to make himself a hero.
It's that flame breath you got to watch out for because the smite down. It gets close, but not close enough. Hanabi about to go to Mega Nara again. He's got the flash and the ulti back up available. They jump on in, and Gage is there, but Murray thinking a second about it. That flame breath once more with the true shot barrage going nullified, but hey, PSG got the Baron, everyone got out, and now Gold all of a sudden is at an unbreakable, you feel, 7,000 at 30 minutes.
With the extra minion waves to tank through the siege, I feel like it definitely feels like it's going to be very difficult for Dewish to mount a comeback here. They're also going to be able to silent split push with the Gnar, which can comfortably 1v1 Lacune's Shyvana at this point. So, yeah, I think Dewish team, once again, are relegated to a low percentage play where Xiaotu has to make something happen.
We've been looking at him the whole game to do that, though. And that's the problem, is some of this damage has been good, but for Dewish team, they've been out-conned, it seems, by PSG, the ultimate con men this time around. And Gory's at that point you warned us about a little bit earlier, Clement. That 3-item Corki here, almost level 16. You don't even need package at this point as Dewish team try to walk in using their tank in the top lane Shyvana, but Gory has now the ability to step up, and Soul could just be taken like that. There's no Baron available. 1 second, and look, Dewish team are like, nah, we can't.
Oh, this is definitely hard to watch. Dewish team not even able to get a chance to poke PSG down while they're all grouped up at the objective. PSG has just done such a good job at chipping away at Lacune. Every time the Shyvana tries to close in, and frankly, she's kind of the only person that can survive poke from PSG at this point, they just chip her out. They keep multiple members at these choke points, and then they turn around to take objectives. So, your team, I'm a little bit disheartened here, but you know, with the pushing minion wave, with the gold disadvantage, they're not able to find anything. And PSG, they just have way too many ways to end. I feel like they could do a 1-3-1, and Dewish team don't have the engage. They're a poke team, so there's no way for them to, you know, hard force themselves onto to the 3-man in mid lane.
I mean, Gory starting that now with the Baron buff going for another 35 seconds. Kaiwing hovering between, staying as a 3-man core towards mid. Dewish team want an angle, but this is so telegraphed as Kaiwing spots him out, and Gory now playing with fire. He gets stunned up with the TP coming through, but Gory's back towards the team. A great flash as well. No CC connecting until Hanabi comes on in. The 1-man may be over-exemplified, but it's enough to get the kill. Lacune is dead, and PSG have just continued to do this. Laugh in the face of Dewish team all game long.
Yeah, that's
a package. Oh, that's a package, Clement. Oh, that's a package. Gory stands still, though, and that is just really sad to cast. I was hoping he'd come through and just blast him, but Gory is going to say better safe than never.
That's kind of the Gory style, isn't it? But he always gives you a big play.
Like this. Come on. Gory with the package. Dewish team with the poke team, and that didn't work out. We're hoping to see a Corki package. We haven't seen too many of this game as there's one next turret remaining, and PSG slow and steady to win the race, but have been laughing all game long. Anticlimactic when you look at how good it could have been as finally Gory drops the package down, and Hanabi with another great ulti. They've been singular, but they've been doing it for me. As PSG winning yet another game to move towards the top of the standings, and Dewish team looking lost with a new identity.